Hi there, parents. Welcome back to the podcast where we dive into the joys and chaos of raising teens. I'm your host, Ashley Radzat, and this is Root and Reach. Today we're going to tackle a biggie. What do you do when your teen messes up? So here we go. So what to do when your teen messes up? Maybe they missed curfew, didn't turn in their homework, or left the dishes in the sink again. Your gut reaction might be to lecture, punish, or ground them, but let's pause. Today we're going to use my ACT model of parenting. This is a model of parenting that is going to acknowledge, calm, and transform, to shift from reacting into guiding. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with 3 solid strategies to help guide your teen without feeling like the enemy. Sound good? Let's dive in. First up, acknowledge. This is the A in ACT. And no, I don't mean acknowledging what your teen did wrong. I mean acknowledging what's happening inside of you. When your teen messes up, what's the first emotion that hits you? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Possibly fear? If you dig a little deeper, you might realize it's not just about the forgotten chore or the late night text. It's about what their mistakes make you feel about their future. Are you afraid that they're becoming irresponsible? Are you worried they won't be successful? Or maybe their choices are stirring up your own childhood wounds, reminding you of the struggles you had and making you determined to steer them in a different direction. If your thoughts are drifting to the future or to the past, you might not, and you really are not fully present in this moment with your teen. You're parenting a child that doesn't even exist yet or never existed in the first place. It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to your teen. So during the acknowledge section of the ACT, I want you to say that name's feeling. Here's the thing. When we name our emotion, we take away its power. It shifts us out of fear and back into the present moment. And in that present moment, we can remember something crucial. Our child is not defined by one mistake or even 100. Yes, they messed up, but there were probably 99 things that they did right today. Have you celebrated those yet? So before reacting, pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Is my reaction based on the fear of the future? Am I bringing up my own past and bringing it into this moment? If this mistake really is an emergency, or it's just part of my teen's learning process, you want to try and figure out what the difference is. Is it an emergency or is my teen being a teen? So even in a split second, you can have an insightful conversation with yourself that stops the emotional reaction from taking over. Simply naming what's happening inside of you allows you to shift from reacting to responding. So I want to talk about brain chemistry here for a second. When you start to feel that wave, maybe it's in the pit of your stomach, or a lot of people clench their jaws. So when you feel it start, that frustration, that anger, or that panic rise within you, that part of your brain, it's called your amygdala, and it's responsible for processing fear and triggering the fight or flight response. And it's calling the shots. Your rational thinking brain, the adult brain, that prefrontal cortex, it's temporarily out of service. You've now turned into a teenager yourself. So this means if you react immediately, you're likely operating from instinct and not logic. And here's something wild. When we enter fight or flight mode, our teen brain syncs up with ours. And if we escalate, they're going to escalate. If we get defensive, they're going to get defensive. You're not just dealing with a messy room or a missed curfew. You're locked into an emotional battle. But here's the good news. The simple act of pausing and acknowledging your own emotions re-engages your prefrontal cortex. It pulls you out of fight or flight mode and allows you to approach the situation with clarity instead of reactivity. And when you stay calm, you give your teen's nervous system a chance to regulate too. Before saying anything, take a slow, deep breath and remind yourself, I want to teach, not control. We have no control over our teens anyway, so it's pointless. Just in that 1 second of mindfulness, it can change the entire outcome of your conversation. Now that you've acknowledged your own emotions, we're going to move to the C part of ACT. That's the calm. This is where we shift from seeing our teen's mistake as a threat to seeing it as a lesson. Because let's be real, our teens want to do well. They're trying. They will not always succeed, and that's normal. They have never been at this stage of life before, so it's natural to mess up. And when we let our worry take over, we start making their mistakes about us. Why can't you just listen? You're making my life harder. I wasn't allowed to do that when I was a kid. See, it's all about us. But when we calm our inner storm, we can see the bigger picture. This is just part of the messy process of growing up. So instead of reacting from fear, try responding with perspective. Remind yourself, my teen is still learning. I also make mistakes. This moment is an opportunity. It's not a crisis. If you think about it, your teen would much rather get it right than have to listen to you lecture. They're not manipulating you. They're not trying to make you mad. In fact, it's not even about you. I know you're tired, and you have probably repeated the same sentence 50 million times. But if they aren't doing it yet, they haven't learned it yet. And nobody learns from a teacher who yells and makes them feel bad. So take a deep breath before speaking. If needed, step away for a moment and remind yourself, my job isn't to control, it's to guide. When you approach your teen from a place of calm, they're far more likely to hear you. So the final piece of the ACT model is the T, and that means transform. This is where we shift from punishment to guidance. Instead of making your teen pay for their mistakes, focus on what they can learn from it. Think about it. The ultimate goal isn't just making sure they never forget to take the trash out again. It's teaching responsibility, accountability, and self-discipline. So instead of saying, you're grounded for staying out too late, try, how do you plan to rebuild trust moving forward? Instead of, no phone for a week because you didn't turn in your homework, try, what's getting in the way of you getting work done, and how can we problem solve? So let's break this down with a few real life scenarios. All right, scenario 1, they've missed a curfew. So a controlling parent would say, that's it, you're grounded for a month, I can't trust you. They probably would be yelling. A calm parent would say, you didn't make it home on time. I was worried about you. Can you tell me what happened? And a transformed parent would take it a step further. They would say, how can we make sure this doesn't happen again? Do we need to adjust your curfew or set up a check-in system? I'm not saying adjust your curfew for later. Scenario 2, incomplete homework. A controlling parent who's probably yelling would say, no video games for a week. You're just being lazy. A calm parent would say, I noticed you didn't turn in your homework. What's going on? A transformed parent would take it further and say, do you need help organizing your assignments? Would it help to have a set study time? You're trying to guide them so that they can learn and find wisdom. Scenario 3, chores not being done. A controlling parent would say, if you can't even put away your dishes, then no more privileges. A calm parent would say, I see the dishes weren't done like we agreed. What happened? And a transformed parent would say, what's a good system to help you remember? Would a reminder for a set time each day help you? Again, searching for that wisdom. Each of these approaches allows your teen to take ownership of their actions while still feeling supported. Instead of setting up a dynamic where they feel punished and defensive, you create a space where they can reflect, problem solve, and grow. This teaches them that mistakes aren't failures, they're stepping stones. And more importantly, it shows them that you're a safe person to turn to even when they mess up. So here are some final thoughts. Teens need you. They don't just need your rules. And parents, I get it. When your teen messes up, it can feel personal. But their mistakes don't mean you've failed as a parent. And punishing them into submission won't create a stronger relationship. It just creates sneakier teens. By using the ACT model, acknowledge, calm, and transform, you're guiding instead of controlling. You're connecting instead of punishing. So, until next time, you got this. I want you to keep showing up. Keep loving your teen even when they're prickly. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. But you have to try it calmly. And you can always act like the parent that your child deserves. See you next time.